Hi everyone, welcome to Yoga with Heini. I'm Heini and today we're going to do a core flow sequence. Let's get started. Before we get into the video, I just want to say a couple of words about what I mean by core. So core is not just the abs, but includes a much greater area of your body. Starting from the soles of your feet, going through the lower legs into your inner thighs, into the pelvic floor, into your hip flexors, also the abs and deep muscles along your spine. So all that support around your spine. But yeah, so we'll be practicing the whole body rather than just the abs in this core video. I have in detail videos of some of the asanas that we do in this sequence, and I'll add a link to those videos at the end of this sequence so you can check them out later if you want to learn a bit more about specific poses. But let's get started with our core flow today. The only prop that you might use would be a block. So you could have a block or a book or a box of some kind just somewhere next to your mat, so that if you want to use it, you have it later on. And we're going to start from lying down on the belly. So bring yourself to lie down on your mat. And first, take just a few breaths in a resting pose. You could lengthen your arms next to your sides. And take a few deeper breaths in and out. As you breathe here, before we start to move, imagine each exhalation rising up from your lower belly. So starting to find some gentle activation, deeper activation in the core already here. Just breathing in, breathing out. And if Ujjayi breath is part of your practice, this would be a good moment to start finding that gentle Ujjayi breath into your practice. So gently restricting the air passage deep down in the throat with your vocal cords, creating that ocean sound, Ujjayi sound with your breath. And when you have found your breath, still lying down on the belly, slowly bring your hands under your shoulders and start to lengthen your head and feet away from each other. Inhale, and as you exhale, lift your chest just slightly off the mat, coming into a small cobra back bend. Inhale there, and then exhale, release the chest, head back down. Inhale on the mat. And again, as you exhale, lift the chest just slightly off the mat, opening the chest. And exhale, releasing back down. 2 more rounds. Again, exhale, peeling the chest off the mat and keep reaching your feet away from your head. Long active line through the legs. And again, exhale, release back down. Inhale on the mat. 1 more time. Exhale, lift the chest off the mat. Inhale and exhale, release back down. And then as you inhale, lift yourself onto hands and knees. And for a moment, round your back into child's pose. You can rock the pelvis from side to side a couple of times. Allow your head to lean down. And then from child's pose, bring yourself up onto elbows and knees. So bring your forearms on the mat, either interlock fingers or you can turn your palms onto the mat. We do a few cat-cow movements for the spine. As you exhale, now round your back up towards the ceiling, round your neck. And then as you inhale, open the chest. A gentle back bend here again. Then again, as you exhale, round your back, round your neck. And inhale, open the chest. Still keep your neck in long line. One more time. Exhale, round the back. You can slightly tuck your tailbone under. And inhale, open the chest. And find a gentle back bend. And then bring your spine to about neutral. So somewhere center where you feel you're not rounding or back bending the spine. Now press down through the shoulders, through the elbows, tuck the toes under. And then as you exhale, lift your pelvis up into dolphin pose. You can adjust where the feet are. Keep the arms active, keep neck free. So you can allow your head to kind of drop down, not leaning onto the head. Try to keep your head slightly lifted off the mat. Here, your core pulling the pelvis up and back, taking pressure off the arms. Take one more breath in and out here. And then as you exhale, bring your knees back down on the mat. And then lift yourself up onto all fours, up onto hands and knees. And we're going to come into balancing either superhero pose or tiger pose. We're going to inhale, lengthen the left leg behind us. And then next inhalation, lengthen your right arm in front of you. And here already you might feel the core working, trying to balance on one hand, one knee. If you want to add a bit more challenge, bend your left knee and reach the right hand to your left foot toes or the foot or ankle. You can just slightly open the chest more. Keep breathing, maybe breathe a bit more to the chest, just to the rib cage, so belly could gently lift in. Take one more breath here. And then exhale, release the knee, release the hand down, and just rock from side to side a couple of times. You can walk from one hand to the other. And we'll do the same to the other side. So start with hands about under your shoulders. And now as you inhale, lengthen your right leg behind you. Try to keep your hips about in the same level. Next inhalation, reach left arm in front of you. And then again, if you want, you could bend your right knee, reach your left hand to the right foot toes or the top of the foot or the ankle. Keep your right elbow maybe just tiny bit bent, so make sure you're not locking that right elbow. And again, balancing here, the core active. You can open the chest a bit more. Take one more breath in and out. And then as you exhale, you can release your hand, release your knee down. Again, you can just gently rock from side to side. And then we're going to come up into downward facing dog. So now tuck your toes under. Exhale, lift the pelvis up. And just like in that dolphin pose, start to use your core, your hip flexors to pull the pelvis up and back away from the hands. Try to keep the neck
free, tops of the shoulders free. Take one more breath in and out here. And then staying in downward dog, step your feet wider apart all the way to the edges of your mat. And then start to again pull the pelvis up and now walk hands to your feet. You can bend the knees and find your way into wide-legged forward bend. Exhale, round the back. You could just let your hands and arms hang down or maybe hold the elbows here. You can swing from side to side a couple of times. And then if you are holding the elbows, release the hands, the arms down. Exhale, bend your knees and then inhale, roll the back up. Come all the way up to standing in this wide-legged mountain pose. You can roll the shoulders a couple of times and then walk the feet back closer together. And we're going to go into a couple of standing balancing poses. And here really think about your core starting from your feet, your legs, your torso. It's all part of the core. Now, from your mountain pose, step onto your right foot and bring your palms together. Let's start with palms together, coming into warrior 3 pose. Inhale, reach head and left foot away from each other. And as you exhale, start to tilt forward, lengthening, reaching the upper body forward, allowing that left leg to come up and reaching the left leg away from the head. Now you could keep your palms together or open arms next to the sides. And see if you could hear, again, keep your hips about in the same level like we did in the superhero pose. Take one more breath here. The standing leg knee could be slightly bent. Lower belly lifting in. And then as you exhale, start to lift your back up. And now bring your left knee towards the belly, towards the chest. Bring palms back together. And here again, try to keep the hips in the same level so we don't let the left hip hike up. If you want, you could now exhale, twist your chest to the left and open the arms. Maybe even extend the left leg further towards the top of the mat. Keep breathing here, breathing more to the chest, more to the rib cage. Get lower belly lifting in. And then exhale, release the twist, bend the knee. And as you exhale, step the left foot down. Bring palms back together. And we go into warrior 3 on the other side. So now lengthen your right leg behind. You can already hear tilt slightly forward. Inhale. And as you exhale, start to tilt the upper body forward. At the same time, the right leg coming up behind you. Keep your neck in long line with the back. If you want, you can open the arms. And breathing here. Again, exhalations coming from your lower belly, lifting through the lower belly. Take one more breath in and out in this warrior 3. And then as you exhale, press down through that left foot. Lift your back up, bring palms back together and lift the right knee towards the chest, towards the belly. Again, check hips in the same level. If you want to add the twist, exhale, start to turn your chest towards the right side of the mat. You could open the arms, maybe even extend the right leg towards the top of the mat.
Keep tops of the shoulders soft. Feel the strength comes from your foot, leg through the torso. One more breath here. And then exhale, release the twist. Bring hands back together, bending the knee. And exhale, release your both feet down. Come back into mountain pose and take a moment here. Just feel the weight going down through both feet. But still feeling that long line from your feet all the way up to your chest, all the way up to the head. And then with your next exhalation, slowly start to roll down. Vertebra, vertebra going down through the spine, arriving into a forward bend. And you could allow this to be a bit softer forward bend. Maybe bend the knees, let the belly come closer to the thighs. You can shake the head from side to side. And take a couple more breaths in and out here. And then after those couple of breaths, we're going to walk back into downward dog. So bring your hands on the mat, walk your feet back. You can pedal from one foot to the other a couple of times. And then from downward dog, shift your weight forward into plank pose. And now you can choose. Either stay in your plank on your hands or come down onto elbows, dolphin plank. If that's better for your wrists, your hands. You could also bring your knees down. It makes the pose just a bit lighter, but feel that you're floating the pelvis, the chest off the mat. Long line from your head to your knees. Take 2 more breaths in and out here. Make sure you're not letting the pelvis or the lower back collapse down. Keep lifting in through the lower belly. And then with next exhalation, slowly release all the way down onto the mat. And again, lengthen arms next to the sides. Take a couple of breaths, a couple of belly breaths, lying down here. And then we're going to come into full locust pose. So again, looking for that long line from head to the feet. You could either keep your arms next to the sides on the mat or hover the hands off the mat. Or bring hands together, interlock fingers behind the pelvis, behind the back. Inhale, reach head and feet away from each other. And then exhale, start to lift your chest and your legs slightly off the mat. Try to keep your knees extended. Try to keep the legs straight. Keep inner thighs active. Inner thighs are a big part of the core. And keep your neck long. You think about reaching head away from the feet. Make sure there's no pain in the back. You can always come a bit lower down if you start to feel there's pain anywhere in the back. Take 1 more breath in and out. Again, the exhalation rising up from the lower belly. And then exhale, release. Bring your chest, bring the legs down. Step hands under your shoulders. Inhale onto hands and knees. Tuck the toes under and exhale into last downward dog. And just 1 more time, feeling that gentle pull up through the pelvis, hip flexor, the core active, pulling the pelvis up. You can shake the head here, take 1 more breath in and out.
Knees could be bent. And then as you exhale, bring your both knees back down onto the mat. And now, if it's okay for your knees, cross your shins or ankles and then sit over the legs so that you come all the way down, sitting on the pelvis. And make sure you have a bit of room behind you, so you might need to shift yourself forward. And now we're going to do a few poses from here, and we're going to start with boat pose. Quite intense for the core, and this is where you could use a block between the legs to enhance the work that we do in the inner thigh. So gently squeezing the block with the inner thighs. We start with hands around the knees or behind the knees. And just inhale first, gently open the chest, think about long line from head to the tail. And then actively draw into the lower belly. Exhale, shift the weight to the back of the pelvis and lift your shins to about parallel line with the floor, still gently squeezing the block between the legs. I suggest slightly flexing your toes or even flexing the ankles, so keeping feet active as well. If you feel stable here, you could release the arms, extend the arms next to the legs, still keep the chest open. A last option, you could start to extend the legs further out here as well. It makes the work even harder in the core. Try to keep that kind of V shape going on in the hips so we're not rounding the back. Keep chest open. A bit of shaking here is fine. See your muscles working. Take one more breath in and out. Again, breathing more to the chest. And then exhale, release the pose. Bring the feet down. You can put your block aside and open the legs into butterfly pose. Make this now a loose, quite easy butterfly pose. As you inhale, just open the chest. And exhale, lean forward. And try to keep your belly, your hip flexors soft here. So it's more of a counter pose after that boat. You could send a few breaths to your back. Soften the neck, allow the heavy head to drop down. You could even walk your hands further forward along the mat if you want. Take 2 more breaths in and out in your forward bend. And then after those 2 breaths, slowly start to roll the back up. And now keep your hips open. We're going to come into one more balancing pose here on the pelvis. So again, lean the weight towards the back of the pelvis, keeping the hips open, balancing happy baby pose. Reach your right hand to the right foot, ankle or back of the thigh. And then find your balance. Lift the left foot off the mat as well, reaching left hand to the foot, ankle or back of the thigh. And find your balance here. Keep tops of the shoulders soft. If you want, or if you feel that you want to challenge a bit more, if you feel there's a bit more room in the backs of the legs, start to extend the legs further out. And just finding that point where you feel that you can almost falling back. So you need to use the core to balance here, but you can still maintain the balance. You can still breathe. Take 2 more breaths in and out. Keep the legs active, the feet slightly pushing out. And then exhale, slowly release the pose. Bring your feet down, close the hips. And then we're going to roll down onto the back. So bring yourself all the way down, lying on the back. You could do a couple of windshield wipers here to swing the knees, swing the legs from side to side. And then we're going to come into one-legged bridge pose. So keep your arms down next to your sides, and first side, leave your left foot down and then lengthen your right leg, right foot up into the air. We're going to inhale and exhale, press down through the left foot. Lift your pelvis, lift your back slightly off the mat and keep reaching up through the right foot as well. And now keep inner thighs active here, so don't let your knees, your legs flop out to the sides. Keep your left foot big toe grounded and check your hips are in the same level. You could even touch the hips with your hands. Check the hips can stay in the same level. So here, core, buttocks, backs of the thighs, hip flexors working actively. Take one more breath in and out. And then as you exhale, slowly release the back, release the pelvis down. And then you have an option to cross your right thigh around the left thigh like eagle legs as we come into a twist. We're going to slowly bring both knees, both legs to the left side of the mat. Open the chest up towards the ceiling. If you have space there, you can open the right arm out to the side as well. For eagle legs, you could use a block under the legs or under the thighs, especially if you feel that leaning legs down on the mat is painful in the hips or back. But those eagle legs are very optional. So you can also release the twist and just have legs on top of each other on the left side of the mat. I take 2 more breaths in and out here. Now with this pose we are more releasing the core. Allow the core to rest. And then with an exhalation, engage the core gently and lift your both knees, both legs back up to the center. If you have the eagle legs going on, release that twisting in the legs and step your feet back to that bridge shape. We're going to do that one-legged bridge on the other side. My block aside. So on this side, leave your right foot down, lengthen your left foot, left leg up into the air. Inhale and then exhale, press down through the right foot. Again, lifting the pelvis, lifting the back off the mat. And it doesn't need to be as high as your 2-legged bridge would be. So this is now more to strengthen the core, strengthen the buttocks, the thighs, all that support around the hips. Again, check your hips would be about in the same level. So we're not collapsing through one hip. Try to keep the neck, try to keep the shoulders soft. Arms could gently press down. Take one more breath in and out here. And then again, as you exhale, slowly bring your back, bring your pelvis down. And if you want, you can now cross the left thigh around the right thigh, like eagle legs. And then slowly bring your both legs to the right side of the mat, leaving the chest open. Again, you could bring a block under the knees, under the thighs. And take a few breaths in and out here. You send these few breaths down to the belly. Again, let the core soften. Let the neck soften. And then with exhalation, Lift your knees, your legs back to the center. Release any crossing you have going on in the legs. And then we're going to come down into Shavasana pose. If you want, you can leave your knees bent, maybe lean the knees, the thighs against each other. If that feels good, like a pyramid pose in the legs. Or just lengthen your legs all the way down onto the mat. And let yourself find an easy resting pose. If you want, you can bring your hands onto the belly. And send your inhalations down towards the belly, down to your hands on the belly. Just taking a moment to rest and release tension, soften effort. Allowing your feet, your legs, your belly, the whole body to relax. Let's take a couple more breaths in and out here. Maybe a couple of slightly deeper breaths in and out. You could let out a sigh with that exhalation. And then with the next couple of breaths, reach your arms over the head along the floor. Reach your legs long along the floor, stretching the whole body long from hands down to the feet. And then hug the knees in, bring the arms down. Hug your knees in towards the chest. You could rock from side to side a couple of times. And then with your next few breaths from your back, roll down onto one side. Could be the left or the right side. And then from your side, bring yourself up into a seat, into your final seat. And this could be any pose, any easy pose. If you want to sit on a block here, you can sit on the block. Let's take just a few more breaths here to close the practice. If it's part of your practice, you can bring your palms together in front of the chest. And as always, at the end of the practice, thank yourself. Most importantly, thank yourself for bringing yourself onto the mat, into your practice, into your body today. And I thank you for joining in, and I hope to see you soon again. Until then, namaste. Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching. I hope you found that useful. If you did, click subscribe and hit the bell icon so you'll be notified of any new videos. I'll be posting lots more yoga related videos on this channel. I also teach online yoga classes, and if you're interested in those, you'll find more information in the description box below and on my website. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.